Hello, my little weirdos. Just gonna go through uh, just several facts, whatever. Um, First, let's talk about the inauguration crowds and the viewership. It was 27%, the viewership, 27% lower than Biden. He had 24 million across 17 networks. Biden had 33 million across just 12 networks. So less networks and even more people watching. And President Rapist's inauguration was on 17 different channels and only got 24 million. 24 to 33. And he had a wider swath of watchers that could have watched. So, he also did not win by a mandate, for anybody who does not know that. A mandate means the vast majority. He barely squeaked the win through. Barely. Even with all the tactics he and MAGA used, all the nefarious messing, he still barely freaking won. Okay, and just want to remind you, not only what he pulled on the inauguration, changing it like 2 days before to indoors, not giving an F about all his supporters who came from across the country, spent money, got tickets, made lots of travel arrangements, just to be told they're not going to actually see him. They're going to be in another venue watching it on a jumbo screen, just like they could have done at home. Freezing themselves. Some of these people came from warmer, climes and came flooding over there just to be left in the snow and cold. And by the way, he did that. Remember when he did that to several rallies he held, both in the summer and the cold weather. He had rallies in like Arizona where it was over 100 degrees. I mean, people were falling out, and he barely even acknowledged that they were past, just like the person who died instead of him. Barely acknowledges them. Which every time you mention it, you should be acknowledging. And I am so upset that, so blah, blah, blah. Never mentions it. So he left them in boiling heat without any kind of, like misting or anything arranged. Didn't care. And he is long-winded and went on and on and on and on and on while people were just falling out. More than one fell out. If you remember some of the rallies, he also left them in bitter cold. The buses that brought them there weren't contracted, or half of them weren't contracted to take them back, because it cost MAGA too much. It cost Republicans too much. So half of them were just, after they brought all the people, just like the election. Once he got your vote, he really doesn't want you non-white people in MAGA. He really doesn't. Not now that he won the election, he doesn't need you. The same thing with anybody in that community, in the LGBTQ plus community. Doesn't need you. He might have been not as harsh on you, but he hates you. He hates me. I'm a woman. He can't stand women. He can't stand women who have no fear of speaking up, or have a fear of speaking up but do it anyway. He hates strong women, especially. But he keeps doing that shit to you guys. Then he swips in Elon, who apparently you guys don't like either, which is interesting because you sure swarm on his app. But eventually, they will turn. Some will turn on him. And the thing is, MAGA and Republicans have cultivated their base to be vicious, to only hear the start of things and just act on that without knowing the whole story. Like I said, they're vicious. Most do not have a conscience. I only know one, that MAGA grandma, who refused her pardon and said, I did what I did and it was wrong, and I'm not going to accept a pardon because I was wrong. And that would be wrong to lie and say, thanks, I didn't do anything wrong in the eyes of the law. I did. That she's the only one that I've heard of that has said that. Which tells you a lot about not only the long-term base, but it tells you a lot about the short term, the ones that just voted for him for the first time this time. It tells you a lot about them. Now about the pardons. We knew he was going to do that. However, he had been asked before the election about, well, are you going to pardon all of them? Like, he's, well, I don't know, you know how he is. And hem and hawing, so he doesn't have to be pinned down on anything to be used against him in the future. And they said, well, what about there was some that were violent? I mean, and he says, well, the violent ones shouldn't be. I mean, we'll have to go through and with them. And now he's saying, oh, there's 1,500. There's way too many to go through individually. So he broke that promise. He broke lower prices, lower gas prices, lower egg prices. Egg prices went up like 33% or something. And egg prices obviously have nothing to do with the president. We told you that when Biden was in. He doesn't want, he just made some sort of thing that nobody's to be talking about the avian flu, like to his people. Nobody, because that is exactly what's causing the egg prices to rise. So if you don't talk about the avian flu, you don't have to talk about the egg prices. His style of leadership is out of sight, out of mind, and delegate it to the states for everything. So the federal government doesn't have to do anything. Then why do we need a federal government if the states are going to regulate themselves on everything? Why do you need you? But he did. He lied to you guys again, and he did a blanket pardon. That includes the leader of the Proud Boys, who had 22 years, and he had serious conspiracy and, attempted murder kind of charges. My reminder. Sorry. So he pardoned all those 1,500 people. By the way, one of them has already been rearrested yesterday, I think it was. I think it was gun charges or something. But he has become very, to side point, Raspy's become very fond of walking and getting attention in the camera. Okay, so he freed all these people. I'm sure a lot of you have seen the post of, the shaman, the QAnon shaman, saying, I just got news from my lawyer. that I got a pardon. I'm gonna go and buy more guns. More fucking guns, he said. So, he freed all these people. We already just discussed some of the shit, and you know they're gonna have revenge for being in prison, even though it was their own fault and their own choice. Someone's gonna get killed. Someone's gonna get killed. The heck was that? But I want to remind you, when he was in power the first time, do you remember he freed 5,000 Taliban? Remember that in Afghanistan? What did they promptly go and do? They promptly went to Afghanistan, home, and enslaved their women. Just a few weeks ago, this just really pisses me off, so I had to compose myself. They, just a few weeks back, they banned windows that, like, look out onto a common area, maybe an alley or something, where a man might happen to walk past and happen to see a woman. So if they see a woman, that's bad. Why is that bad? Because he can't keep it in his pants. Their men can't keep it in their pants. And he'll be aroused to and prompted to commit a sin. So, not only do women, when they're in public, have to be completely covered up, except for just their eyes, so they can see where they're going, but now in private, they don't even have windows to look out of, unless it's something that nobody walks by. Then you could have a window. But only women. So the violent criminals that he released there, went and did unspeakable things, all attacking women. He let 1,500 go that are violent. I mean, they stormed the Capitol where they weren't supposed to be and were told they're not supposed to be there. If you're pushing your way through, that's somewhat violent. It's contact. It means you're forcing where you're not supposed to be. That's not just strolling by and accidentally walking through some private property, unaware. What are they going to do now that they're pissed off? They've been in prison a couple years. He goes, oh, they've been in prison a long time. Anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5 years, maybe. Depending on when their case was tried. Listen, President Rapist, that's not a long time in prison. It's not. I worked in prisons as a corrections officer in Arizona for a decade. 2 or 3 years is not a long time in prison. Idiot. Oh, here's a fun one. Elon is now in charge of what countries get our aid or don't get our aid. You do know that Elon Musk has been getting his nose into not only UK and Germany's politics, but he's gotten his nose into at least half a dozen countries in Europe, pushing neo-Nazi fascism ideas. So when all the European people saw on the news his Nazi salute, because that is what it was, every single one of them identified it immediately as a fascist Nazi salute. That's what it was. That's what he intended it to be. The conviction in his face when he went, ugh, when he thumped his chest, and when he pumped the arm straight out. It was done in almost a violent conviction. Nobody can tell me that was not a Nazi salute. And now his past person is in charge of what countries get our aid. By the way, Margaret Taylor Greene is so incredibly toxic that, you know, the Department of Doge, which isn't even a legitimate, it can't do anything because it's not legitimate. It was Elon Ramaswamy and Green. Ramaswamy cannot stand Margaret, and so that's why he said, ditch it out of here, buddies. Gonna go run for Ohio senator or something. Governor or whatever. He ditched Margaret because Margie is just so effing toxic. She should go marry Elon because seriously, they've got the same Nazi, neo-Nazi ideologies and inclinations. Maybe more than President Rapist. I don't know. The only reason he does that is because the Third Reich, Russia, those are the ones that he thinks are powerful, when all they are is bullies. Let's see. You know, Biden for Medicaid and Medicare, you know, seniors, he lowered the drug prices. This jackwad, President Rapist, raised the prices. Who the F says I want them to pay more? Charge them more to the drug companies. Who the hell does that? The only reason is because if that happens, they promise to kick back for all the money they're going to be getting again. I mean, how else can you see that? Why would somebody take down... Not only, I told you in another video the other day, I said that if you go to the White House, www.whitehouse.gov, if you went /Constitution, it always had the Constitution up there. It's been gone for a few days now. They also took all videos from there and on their YouTube channel, all videos with ASL, American Sign Language interpreters on them, they're all down. Anything with ASL that was on the White House site, down. It's gone. What is the point of that? The only point, again, is to be a bastard and to be cruel and to get off on being able to just run everybody's lives like a little puppet. He just gets off on being able to control other people's lives. It's what the LGBTQ plus shit's about. It's about what women is about. It's not about any of the beliefs they have. It's just simply to be able to have power of life and death, basically, or good or bad happening to people. And when other people are struggling and suffering, you, if you're a narcissist, suddenly feel so superior because I don't have those problems. I'm better than you. I'm rich. He actually said the other day, he was doing a speech thing, and he said something about rich people like to take showers every day. Are you saying because is that a reference to the homeless people who are the very opposite of rich? You don't think that's disgusting to hear? That's disgusting to say. I have a tip for you. When you're not sure about if somebody said something or did a gesture or something in a negative or a positive way, is a very good way to gain insight. Do the gesture yourself, the exact way they did it, and the exact time. Or if it's something said, say it. Say the words in the way they said it. Both things, both exercises, what you feel inside to get that expression or that those words said a certain way, that the person said it, what it creates in you is probably most likely the way they said it from you. So if you do that gesture he did, in the way he did it, I mean, he literally went, you hear him grunt. That's how forceful he was doing it. If you do it yourself, God, not around others, please, in privacy. If you do it yourself, to get the face and the sound of how he did it, you would see how much you'd have to hold that as a conviction of yours. Same thing with the way they say what he says. When he says that, you say it. Well, the rich like to take showers every day. What don't the rich do then? We're just a bunch of filthy dogs? Filthy animals? Filthy pond scum? Is that all we are? The people that aren't rich? So there's rich and there's pond scum, basically, is what he's saying. I mean, that's what it sounds like. Oh, yes. He registered Cuba as a state sponsor of terrorism. He revoked an order to federal agencies to promote voter registration. He doesn't want government agencies to put out reminders to register to vote. Why? Why would anybody who loves their country request the government to not remind people to register to vote? Why would that be? Why would that be, President Rapist? What? Why is that? It's to have control and be cruel. That is what most of these were about. I have taken a lot of energy in trying to contain my disdain, my dripping sarcasm, my utter disgust with the both of them. And make no mistake, Republicans support this. Republican MAGA support this all because they voted him in. These orders do nothing about loving our country, loving our fellow countrymen. And again, Bishop Boud, maybe Buddy, I don't know. But for some reason I keep snagging on that one. But Bishop, I stand behind you 110%. Absolutely. MAGA Republicans and President Rapist and his administration are deplorable pond scum. And my apology to any pond scum out there. Have a great day. Peace out.